This video is to show you how to use a program like Maya to break down sound to use for animation, and in this case stop motion animation. So what I have here is I have Maya open, and I'm only going to be using this I'm only going to be using the timeline down here to open up a soundtrack and go frame by frame and break it down and then transfer it to an X sheet. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that Maya settings are correct, and I go to Windows, Windows, Settings, Preferences, and first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I am at 24 frames a second. So in the categories I go to Settings and make sure that the time is film 24 frames per second. I also want to go down to the time slider down here, and I also want to make sure that playback speed is real time 24 FIPS. A couple of things you can do while you're in the time slider. The time slider is down here. If you're not familiar with Maya, the time slider moves you through the frames down here, and I'm moving it with my left mouse button. You can also make the time slider larger by going into this height category up here, and it's at 1x. That's what I usually use, but you can make it a little taller. You can make it 2 times, you can make it 4 times. I'm going to make it just 2 times for this. Actually, let's make it 4 times just so we can be sure to see it, and we're going to be seeing a waveform in here. So with that's all set, I'm going to go into the file and I'm going to import my audio. So I go to File, Import, and I need to navigate to the file that I want to import, and this is in let's find this here, class music. It could be anywhere, and I'm going to be using this Animate. That's the name of the song, that's why I picked it, and I'm going to import that audio. I'm using Maya 2016 right now. Earlier versions of Maya will do something different once the audio is imported in, but in 2016 it brings it right into the timeline, and you can see the waveform for it. Usually what you have to do is you need to go into sound, and you need to physically put the sound, so there's no sound in here. That's just track sound. You need to physically make sure that it is recognizing the soundtrack. I'm going to only be using about 10 seconds or so, so I'm going to expand my timeline down here with the timeline expansion to about 300 frames, just to make sure I have enough. Now, hopefully you can hear this when I scrub through the timeline. You can also play it by hitting the space bar. Does it play the space bar? Oh no, you have to go over here. You can play it over here by playing the little playback forward. So that is the sound we're going to be using, and now we're going to be breaking it down. I have also, usually the best thing to do is to have a physical paper X sheet, and since you can't see it on my screen, I have made a Excel spreadsheet that we're just going to use. You can use this actually if you want to. You can break down your sound, but I find it easier just to have pencil and paper and just have one program open. So I'm going to go into Maya. I'm going to go into the beginning. I'm going to just reduce my time to something that's a little more manageable, and I'm going to scrub through the sound, and you can either use your left mouse button. If you had animation up here, it would go really slow, or you can also use your middle mouse button to scrub through. So let's start. Over here we're at frame 1. There's a little beat there, and we're just going to take that for granted that is going to start with something. And the first beat, we're using the drum. I'm going to be breaking it down to the drum beat. So there's a boom, boom, just like And sometimes you have to go slow, sometimes you have to play it just to kind of hear what's going on. So the first one, as you can hear that, is happening at frame 14. So I'm going to go to my Microsoft X sheet and I'm going to go to frame 14, and I made a column called, and I'm going to put it in the action column, and I'm just going to put an X there. And I can go and I can refine this later, but I just want to make sure that, you know, that it just notices that I've indicated a beat. So I'm going to make an X beat. So that's the first one. Go back to Maya. And sometimes you have to play through it just to kind of hear what's going on. So this is the second. It's right there. It's about frame 44. So go to my X sheet, go to frame 44, and you make an X. And you just go through. And you want to just go through and find that it's right there. That's where my next beat is. And so there's a lot of sound going on. It sounds a little garbled, but you sometimes have to go back and forth and you have to play it, and right about there. So frame 71 is going to be my next beat. So I scroll down here to frame 71. And I just do my beat there on my X sheet. And then you just continue on going through as you would. Let's go see. Let's go all the way to 300 and find out what the rest of the soundtrack sounds like. Now if you wanted to continue on longer, you could, you know, extend that out to frame 400 just to kind of see what's going on after, because this goes on for a few minutes. And that sounds pretty good. So that's how you use Maya to break down sound. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. We'll be going over this in class. This is just a little tutorial reminder in case you forget. So thank you.